Yeah.
Just don't ask me who my best friend was.
We're good. I gotcha. Okay, awesome. So I'll introduce the show, and I'll introduce you, and then I'll let you kind of do an intro for yourself, and then we'll kind of go through questions.
Okay.
So I'll lead you. Don't worry about it.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Welcome to Double E Elevating Entrepreneurs. Today I'm here with a special guest, Dennice Johnson. She is the owner and founder of Hyphen. They are a sports relocating company, and they work with professional athletes. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes. So my name is Dennice Johnson, and so we relocate professional athletes anytime that they find themselves in need of moving assistance. So we work exclusively with a lot of NBA teams, NFL teams, players, staff, family members. We take care of their real estate, their car shipping, their moving. I mean, we're really a one-stop shop concierge service for these people. So, that in a nutshell, it sounds like a lot. I mean, it is, but that's what we do.
That is so cool. So tell us a little bit about, how did you come up with this idea? What started this business for you?
So there wasn't necessarily a blueprint for me to just get into relocating. I often tell the story of how I started working at a nursing home, and then I went to retail, and then I worked in the mall, and then I flipped burgers, and then then I worked at the bank, and then from the bank I went to and so I eventually got my real estate license. I worked for this awesome brokerage firm here in Dallas, and they kind of introduced me a little bit into what relocating was for just people in general and a few players here and there, and I just thought to myself there's got to be a way that's easier and more efficient to do this. And so that's when I, went into my lab, my house, my sanctuary, and started to kind of write out a business plan of how can I do this to just streamline the moving business? And so that's kind of how I came about.
I love that. So you were there's a problem here, and I want to create that solution and make it a business.
Yeah. That's what they often say is that if you want to create a business or become somewhat of an entrepreneur, you need to find a problem and then find the solution for it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's how you make the money.
Yeah, that's how you make the money. Yes.
Yes, that's awesome. Very cool. So that's really neat. So tell us a little bit about, kind of the growing stages. How did things look when you were starting out? How are things now? What are some challenges you overcame? Tell us more about your story.
Yeah, let me tell you about the times that I was sitting in my closet crying, thinking that this was not going to work. So we had a lot of bumps and bruises, a lot of obstacles and hurdles that we had to overcome. But I think that it was just about keep going forward, right? I think we ran into a few issues in the very beginning when I was trying to get my broker's license, and it was really hard for some reason for me. Maybe it's easier for some people out there, but I got really discouraged. I remember driving to my dad's house, and he was like, "Get out of the car." And I was sitting in the parking lot or in his driveway, and I was just like, "I just don't know if I could do this." And he's like, "It's fine. Just take a deep breath." And I think for entrepreneurs, oftentimes we just need to take a deep breath, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and then, pull yourself up by your bootstraps because there's going to be discouraging moments. I think that we had a lot of bumps and bruises, like I said in the beginning. Now, not so much.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to a point where everything's kind of just flowing. Clients left and right, people are calling us, teams are calling us. And while we did have that in the beginning, it wasn't, we didn't have a crazy influx of business.
Sure.
And now we do. And, in this business, I think that we're referral based. So you work with one big name, he walks into the locker room and he tells everybody hey, Dennice and Jasmine killed it. Those girls are amazing.
Yeah.
It's woman owned and operated, minority owned. The other day we literally had a woman truck driver. And it was just so, we had to take a picture with her. We took selfies with her because it was just so awesome to know that women are so powerful. She put the truck on there and she was fastening it up and stuff, and she was sweating, and I just was so empowered by what she was doing that no. Now it's smooth rolling, but in the beginning it was the life of an entrepreneur having to wear so many different hats.
Oh, absolutely. I completely understand that, being one myself.
Yes.
Solely owned and operated by me.
Yes.
So yes, you do it all. Whatever you have to do, you make it work.
All the hats.
I learned graphic design because I had to.
You're like, I'm my social media person. I'm my CPA.
I'm everything. I did hire an accountant because I was like not dealing with that.
I know. No, it's hard. You're like, I don't want to balance these books anymore.
Yeah,
I'm
no thanks.
tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
That is so cool. So what have been, I don't know if you can share who you've worked with, but what have been some of your favorite clients and coolest experiences so far?
Let me think. Some that probably wouldn't mind me sharing their names. We worked with offensive lineman Teron Armstead with the New Orleans Saints. And
Cool.
He's a pretty big deal. He's pretty awesome. We shipped a car for him.
Cool.
Hopefully Andy Dalton doesn't mind, but yesterday we shipped some cars for Andy Dalton to Chicago because he's going to be in Chicago. And so, we, like I said, we do the car shipping, the moving, the finding of the houses. We did NBA. Jay Crowder was a really good one for us because we got to, he played for the Miami Heat. He relocated to play for the Suns in Arizona. So we helped him find a new house. Then we packed all of his belongings, shipped them from Miami, unpacked everything in his house, and then shipped the cars as well. So when he got to Scottsdale, he was just like, I'm home, and he was ready to get to work. And that's kind of what we try to do, is to ensure that they could just go into, the workforce and just be ready.
Yeah, I love that. So you kind of just simplify and streamline their moving process. Everything. So you handle all the stress.
The stress, yes. So if it looks like I haven't slept, it's because I haven't. No, my assistant and I are always walking around like zombies. But we definitely try to make sure that not only do we take care of those 3 services for them, but we also try to make sure that, if their wives have, if they have children, that we make sure that they're within 15 minutes of really good school districts and stuff like that. So we really go above and beyond to make sure that we build a rapport with them and make them feel like family.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yes.
And that's so crucial, I think, to small business ownership, is having that relationship. Mm-hmm. What do you think helps you kind of cultivate that?
So I think in business, what I've realized is that we sometimes are very, I don't want to use the word pretentious, but very we try to put on a suit and we try to, per my last email, and talk to people like we're not people, right? Yeah. And so the culture that I've tried to develop for Hyphen is that of, we are family. We're going to protect your peace of mind. We're going to protect your privacy. But at the same time, we're family, okay? So talk to me. Tell me what you need. I'm going to take care of you. And they feel comfortable. Sometimes too comfortable. They'll call. They'll text you at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, And so, but yeah, I think that's what it is that we just try to tell them listen, we're probably around the same age. We're your peers, me personally, I've actually lived the life of living in the football world. So I know what it's like to have to relocate. I know how stressful that is for the player or for the wives or for the children. And so I really definitely try to implement that and explain to them that I know what it feels like and have that empathy. And I think that kind of just levels the playing field for us.
That's a game changer. And that was just so key what you said there. I kind of want to go back to that, is you said from personal experience. And so I'm sure that, gave you another reason to build this business, right? Because you had been there. Been through it.
Yeah. Believe it or not, before I even got married, I was doing this before that. So I've only been married 4 years, going on 5 years, but I had been doing this for almost 8 years. So just the business aspect of it, the real estate part of it, the moving, I think that I just like helping people. I think that's what it is, because even on my spare time, I was going to food pantries and feeding people. So I've been doing that since I was 17. So I think it's just it's my innate nature to want to help. So yeah.
That's awesome.
That's where it stems from.
That's so cool. But one of the last guys on my podcast was Nick Marino Jr. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So he does everything around Dallas, feed the city.
Yeah. Gotta give back to the community.
Yeah.
You got to.
Yeah. So he works at Tango Tab, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
But that's so awesome. I love that. So you have that. That's probably even more special for your clientele, because they understand that you understand them on a deeper level, having been through it yourself. And I think that adds such a great piece to your business.
Absolutely.
So I would like you to talk a little bit about being a female entrepreneur, and kind of in a way like a male-dominated field. How does that feel? Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, let me tell you, it has been it's been trying at times. At times, because like you said, it is a male-dominated field. It's hard to infiltrate the sports industry. Very, very hard. It doesn't matter whether you've been a football wife, basketball wife, or whether, you're LeBron James's wife. For some reason, it is just difficult to get in there. It's difficult to gain their respect. And I think that that's why we try so hard, like I said, to develop that relationship with the player so that they know, like, listen, we're going to do our very best. It doesn't matter what it takes. We're going to make sure that it gets done. But when it gets done, will you just do us the favor and tell everybody? And so that's what's propelling us forward, is the fact that we're like doing so good at helping these guys that they're just telling other people, and that's what's making it easier for us to be in that field.
Okay.
Because when we first started, it was like cold calling, and they'd be like, yeah no thanks, click. No thanks, click. No thanks, click. And so we were getting no's left and right. And so we were just like, listen, if we can just find a few guys that are going to give us a chance to show them that we can get it done, I promise you won't regret it. And so now we're in a position where, like, we're getting calls left and right. We don't even know what numbers are calling, what teams are calling, what agents are calling, financial advisors. I mean, so we're really, really blessed in that regard that, they trust us for sure.
That's really awesome. And I think that's like really key what you said there too is, again, just having that community, having their friends tell, because, when your friend tells you something, you're much more likely to go and do that thing because you trust that friend.
Absolutely. It's like Yelp.
And that innate trust, that word of mouth, and that's beautiful. So it's really great that you guys are expediting on that.
Absolutely.
And leveraging that to grow your business. So you credit that to your growth, right?
Yes.
So you haven't done a lot of advertising. You've done a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah, it's been mostly word of mouth. I'm like, I'm sure I could invest in like a billboard and like, a lot of marketing materials and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I'm just like, you know what? Once this guy goes in there and he says these girls did an awesome job, like, that'll be enough.
That's all you need.
Yeah. And trust me, we've done some crazy stuff to get the jobs done.
That's awesome. Like what?
Well,
you can't just say that and not tell us.
I know. No, honestly, like I want to say every 3 weeks we have at least one scenario where we're just like, we can't believe this is really happening. we had one player that plays in Minnesota, and we moved his entire house, and the movers forgot his bed. But this guy's like 7 foot, so he was like, this is COVID. I'm not going to go sleep in a hotel. Somebody needs to go get my bed. And my assistant flew to North Carolina, picked up the bed, and then drove 18 hours with the bed in the car to drop it off the same day, because that's what he wanted. And so we got that done. And so those are the type of things those are the type of things that we're doing for these guys. And not too long ago, we had another player that he was like, hey, can you ship my car? And he pulls around the corner and the car doesn't turn on. And so we're trying to get the car inside of this like enclosed carrier, but he's too big of a football player to fit in there. So I physically have to push the car in and then climb out of the car so that we can get the job done. And so those are the things where I'm just like, women owned, operated, and going above and beyond to make sure that you have what you need, So it's a crazy business, and no 2 days are the same.
Yeah,
2 days.
I love that. That's what makes it so interesting, though.
Yes.
Yeah, that is so cool. What's been one of your favorite moments?
Oh, let me see. One of my favorite moments. I want to say maybe Jay Crowder was one of my favorite moments, because he used all 3 services, and it was like easy. Like, we got you the house, we shipped the things, and then both of his cars like arrived to the stadium, and he was like, that was awesome. And I'm like sweating. I'm like, yeah, that was awesome, But yeah, no, I think that was probably one of the best ones so far that I'm grateful for, because there was no hiccups. It just was easy peasy.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's so cool. So as part of your business, you had mentioned that you got your brokerage license, right? So that's something that you have to have in order to help them find the home?
Yes. So the broker's license allows for me to broker deals with different vendors, right? So I have like over 10 vendors that I work with simultaneously, just to make sure that everybody can get an estimate that fits their needs. Okay. So let's say that you're leaving Texas and you're going to California, right?
Sure.
that could cost you maybe $10,000. And you're just like, Dennice, I don't have that type of money. Don't worry. We're going to run it through like 6 or 7 other vendors to make sure that like everything is aligned. If it's 10, it's 10. But if I can get it to 4, let's do it at 4, right? And so I do that so that I can try to appease, my rookies and people that are more like conscious about their money. Everyone doesn't just spend money frivolously. So, so I definitely try to find the best deals for them. And I think that that's part of it. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. And so, like, getting your brokerage license, you said it was definitely a little more difficult than you had anticipated. What are some tips for those out there trying to do that? Prayer,
meditation, reading self-help books.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to get your broker's license, just be patient, just because it's a process. It's a process. It's a lot of paperwork. You have to make sure that you're insured and you're bonded, you're licensed, that everything matches up. I mean, it's just a lot of paperwork. And I think that that's what the headache is. I think that might be mostly what it is, that I was just frustrated because I had a lot of business coming in at the same time as I was trying to get licensed. And, I'm like, I can't do the business unless I'm licensed, so it's like a catch-22. And so thank God I got licensed right in time, and I was able to like broker all those deals. So it's perfect.
Is there a certain like school that helped you, or
no
class or program?
No.
Just studied your butt off.
Just study your butt off, and that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool. That's awesome. Do you have any other like certifications or things you're planning on getting in the future?
I'm trying to think. We're kind of playing with this idea of maybe eventually, because like I said, I have so many vendors. Like I have moving vendors, I have car shipping vendors, I have brokers, I have realtors. I just have a lot of people that are juggling a bunch of jobs for us at the same time, right? And so, I don't know. We sometimes we play with the idea of like, imagine if we just bought a moving company and then just put Hyphen on it. And then that way we're also the sole moving company and also the sole car shippers. And then, so it's something we're playing with. Maybe that's like a 5-year down the road. Yeah. Right now my stress levels can't even.
Yeah.
They can't even.
So explain to us what the idea or the name Hyphen means.
So I was looking at a keyboard. It was probably about 2 or 3 in the morning. I was really, really, really tired. And I was coming up with these names. I can't even think of the older names that I was coming up with back then. But it used to be called, because like I said, I've been in business for almost 8 years. It used to be called Luxury Sports Relocation. But then I changed it to Hyphen, because Hyphen is the little dash that connects 2 words. Right? So if you say world class, the hyphen is right in between them. Yeah. And we're really the middleman. We're the connector. So if you come to me, or a player comes to me, or a team comes to me, I'm connecting them to all of the moving parts that are going to get the deal done. Right? So Hyphen, that's where it kind of came about, because I was looking at the keyboard and I was like, what is on here that's creative?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's so smart.
Hyphen,
I like
the
it.
middleman. Yeah. That's it.
I like that. I love that. That's really smart.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
That's so cool. So you had, hinted a little bit about, potential projects going forward. Is there anything else on the horizon for you guys going into, the rest of 2021, 2022?
I think that we're all at some point in our lives, or have in the past, dealt with mental health issues, right? And so that's something that we're going to want to intertwine with Hyphen, because we're dealing with all of these athletes, players, and staff. And I think that it's important to give them a platform to talk about what they go through. Like, are you playing through injuries? Are you about to retire? How many times have you seen a coach, wife passed away, and then he goes and coaches that football game that same Sunday? And you're sitting there like, how is that even possible? And so, and so I want to kind of give them a platform where we can talk about that, and then maybe try to find loopholes to help these players and even the family members, because it's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that I think the general public isn't aware of. And I think that it would help bridge a gap between the general public and these people that are idolized, right? And glamorized. This lifestyle's glamorized. Yeah. I think it would literally level the playing field to be like, wow, they're just like me. Yeah.
Normal humans.
Normal humans. And it really just, I don't know. I think it would be awesome. So that's a project that we kind of are looking to do here in the next year or two. Maybe create a 501c3 nonprofit organization for mental health in the sports realm. So that's like a passion project that we're probably going
Yeah.
to embark on soon.
I like that.
Yes.
I love it. You're like just like me. I'm spiraling everything out. You know, I've got this podcast. I'm going to be writing a book related to the podcast. You know, I started clothing related to it.
Hey.
And now I'm working on an app. So it's just like everything spirals out of your business.
Same.
And it's,
Same.
yeah, it's just so
Yes.
cool when you're passionate about something and you really care about it, like how much you can grow and the impact.
Yeah, I think
know,
it gives you a reason to get out of bed,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So.
tell us more about what your why is. So that's definitely part of it.
Yes,
But
yes.
expand a little bit more. What else is important to you?
So I think my why is just walking in my purpose, being aligned. I've never felt like happier, really,
Yeah.
like more connected to what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. Like I said before, helping people, something that I'm very, very passionate about. I have been for many, many years, well before this, before this podcast, before my business. Like it just, as a kid, it was something that like filled a void for me maybe, or just makes me feel like joyful to help others. And so I think that that's my why. Like I really get up in the morning, before my feet hit the ground, I have like a moment of gratitude where I'm thankful for all of the things that like I am and I am becoming. Not the things that I have, right? The
Sure.
thing that I'm becoming, that's what's tangible, right? And so I think that that's my why. I have a 2-year-old son that I want him to like grow up and like see that his mom was, like dope.
Kicking butt and taking
I
names.
had to pause myself because I
Bad.
almost said something else. But yes, like I just want him
Bad
to grow.
A.
Yeah, bad A.
A woman.
Yes, bad A woman. Yes, I want him to know that like I'm paving the way for women that are coming behind me that are trying to get into sports, right? Or that women that are like mental health advocates. Like I want him to see that and see that like I'm tenacious and I'm strong and I'm brave, and like every time that I'm fearful of something that I go for it anyway. Like who cares?
Yeah, right.
Like who's judging me?
Right.
Right? Like I'm writing my own story here. Who
Right.
cares, right? And so
Yeah.
that's really my why every day. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, and it's so funny because as I'm getting older, I'm reflecting and realizing half the time we think people are thinking about us, they're not.
At all.
They have their own whole world happening.
Oh my God.
And they're probably not even
Say
concerned.
it again for the people in the back. I think the best example of that was I went with my dad he was the president of Toastmasters at some point.
Oh, awesome.
Right. So that's just where they go and they do public speaking. So he invites me and I'm listening to these people talk and I'm sitting there. And like, I pull out my cell phone and I'm like texting and I'm like, anyway,
Yeah, you're like,
right.
"Mm."
And then my dad is like, Dennice, it's your turn. And I'm like, what? It's my turn. Oh my God. And so instantly you start profusely sweating and your heart starts beating. And then like everything about you is just like, I'm going to die.
Right.
Right. Because they say that people fear
Public speaking more
than death.
I
Right.
know.
That is a fact.
I'm like, I'd rather public speak than die, but
Yeah,
most people are the opposite.
Most people are the opposite. Exactly. And so I'm just like, I get up there and I had to like self-check. Like, Dennice, you were just on your phone and you didn't care about what people were talking about. They're going to sit down and they're going to be on their phones. And and so I think if you approach everything with that mindset, like no one really cares, you'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean,
will be
it's
fine.
true. Everyone's worried about their own life. Now, when you're talking to the same audience, let's say that you're impacting, that's a different story.
Right. They're all ears.
Yeah. It depends on the environment. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that is so cool. So, yeah, I mean, tell us more, too, about just, being a female entrepreneur. I've only had a couple female entrepreneurs so far on my podcast, and I just think there's a lot of ladies out there in the world that want to get into the business realm.
Absolutely.
What are some tips you have? And then also, you're also the first, wife and mother. I've had a, young married lady that was just on my podcast, Bree, and she started her business right when she started her marriage. So that was an interesting perspective she gave us.
Okay.
But I'd love to just hear yours. You had a young family. You just had a baby in the middle of, a little one. Busy life. So tell us about that perspective and how you can help the ladies there.
Yeah. So how do you help the ladies? I think just women in general are just resilient. I mean, we're just born and bred to be that way. And I think that we're also born and bred to like multitask very, very well and pick up on nonverbal cues, right?
Yeah.
I often tell people like, with boys, you give them like a set of Legos and you're like, here, play with that. And they're just like stacking Legos. And then with girls, they're like, here, a Cabbage Patch doll. And then also, here's your Easy Bake Oven. Don't forget the cookies,
Right.
And so you're like simultaneously simultaneously doing these things. You're trying to like feed the baby and stuff. And that is real life. It's really translated to real life. So whether you're a mother or you're not, like I find myself like just doing this like constant juggling act. And most women make it look effortlessly, you know, like it's just, it's insane. I think that my advice would be to have a day. You got to have your day where you like decompress and self-care. Because if you don't have like anything to give, like if your cup isn't full, you can't overflow into others. And so you don't want to run on fumes. And I think that I found myself doing that in the past. And so now I make sure that like if I feel like overwhelmed, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. And you push everything forward and you're like, I'm going to go sit on the couch for a second. I'm going to make myself a tea and I'm just going to breathe. Like that's I'm going to look out the window and everything's going to be fine. So if I had any advice for any woman, entrepreneur, mother, single, divorced, married, it's complicated, Facebook, I don't care what your relationship status is. Like
nowadays, right?
You know, you just never know. And you just really have to make sure that the self-care is a priority because, you know, you could be working a job and you pass away, they're going to replace you within 4 or 5 days after you pass away. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? So you have to prioritize your mental health and your physical health so that everything else can just kind of, you know, flow. So that would be my advice to most women.
No, I love that.
But it hasn't been easy, so I'll tell you that,
Yeah, so, I mean, there's probably been lots of hiccups throughout, you know, owning a business, especially over 8 years, you know. You know, the challenge of, you know, running something, creating something, getting, you know, brokerage license, you know, having a new marriage, having a baby, raising your baby, balancing all of that. So you had mentioned the mental health, taking a break for yourself. What are some other things that kind of keep you on track and going forward with your business and your life?
Ooh, I make sure that I work out. I make sure that I write my goals down. That's huge. Like I probably write my goals down on a piece of paper like once a week. Okay. And I don't know. I know I've met other people that do it on a daily basis, and I wish that I was a little bit better. That's like on my to-do list. But once a week, I really do. Like yesterday, my son was sitting in my lap, and he was like going through like my briefcase, and he like pulled out this like piece of paper that was folded in 4, and then when he opened it, and I looked over, and I was like, oh, that's from like 3 weeks ago, you know. And it's just goals and aspirations, and also me speaking life onto myself and saying, you know, like if you feel this is going on, you have to like speak positively. Like I don't like to sit in the moments and be like, I'm going to be this, you know, like you have to speak in the present moment. I am this. Okay. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to be better tomorrow. No, I am better now. I am the best now, you know? And so I make sure that I write those goals down on the back of my door. I have like a dry erase board on the back of my bedroom door, and then I also write my goals down once a week, and I listen to audiobooks a lot, always self-help, and then I'm very mindful of like the music that I listen to. Just because I feel like it can shift your mood, right?
Completely.
It can shift your mood, and so like I'm not saying that I don't like country music because I do, but country music sometimes is like they're drunk drinking moonshine and they just went through a breakup.
And they're sad.
So I kind of try to stay away from that. And then I also try to stay away from rap because there's really not a lot of substance there, right? They're talking about like killing and you know, and then stuff, you know, killing and drugs and multiple women and this, that, and the third. And so I'm just like, none of that is helping me go down the path that I want.
There's a few exceptions with some Christian rap.
Right, there is. Right. There definitely is, but so I'm very mindful of things that like are just going to fill my spirit, and I try to surround myself with people that are going to make me laugh and uplift me and stuff like that. So all of that, I think all of that is huge for me, just because like today, for instance, like I find myself in the gym at 7:30 in the morning. I work out, take a shower, come back, do this podcast, then I'm going to go change clothes again. Then I'm going to go meet this football player, and then I'm going to go show him some houses. And then after I show him some houses, I'm meeting another football player, and I'm going to go show him some land. And my day yesterday was very similar to this. And when I got home, we sat in the office, me and my assistant Jasmine sat there. We powered through some stuff that we needed to get done for the app that we have coming out in like a few days.
Okay, you got to tell us about that then.
Right. And then as soon as we were done, and she said, I just sent the email, I literally grabbed my son and we walked to the park.
Oh,
you know,
good to have that.
Yeah, I gave him a popsicle because I was like, oh my God, like just come on, we're gonna go out in the sun, so let's stay hydrated. And we walked to the park, and it was like a mile and a half, and then we walked back. We got home around 8, shower, bath, or a shower for me, bath for him, dinner, bed. Do it all over again. And so for mothers that find themselves in these routines of like, is this Groundhog Day? Like, do we do the same thing every day?
Yeah.
Like, you just have to remember that there's like a greater purpose, a bigger picture. And if you're part of the bigger picture, like, you're going to stay motivated. Because like for me, oftentimes I'm like, we're not doing anything. We're not getting anything done. But like, I think that the idea of my business scares me a little bit because I know how big it's going to be. I know it.
Right.
Every time that I talk to, every time I talk to a ball player or I talk to a billionaire or I talk to a millionaire or entrepreneur, they're just like, they see it, I feel it, I know it.
Definitely.
It's going to happen, you know? Yeah.
I get that. That's so cool. So I think, that was such a great example of just what you were saying. And I think it's so important and vital, and it's something we don't really think about. Like, slowing down to reflect, okay, what am I putting in?
Right.
What am I consuming? Because whatever you're putting in is going to come out.
Every time.
And so it's just like, it's true, like reflecting, okay, slowing down, what am I watching? What am I listening to? Who am I letting speak into my life? Who am I associating with?
What am I eating?
What am I eating?
Right.
How am I caring for my body?
Yeah.
Am I sleeping? Am I drinking water? Am I eating well? Who am I getting advice from? Like, just lots of different avenues that I think you really highlighted there that are so poignant and important when you are running something, you are running a business, because like you had mentioned earlier, you can't pour from an empty cup, and it's so important to reflect on where those things that you're filling yourself up are coming from and what they're saying to you. Yeah. And so I think that's so important. And I love that you mentioned too, like, slowing down and like writing those goals. I mean, weekly to me is impressive. I don't even do that. I do write my goals. I do have a dream board. I actually just came out with a short podcast about my dream board and kind of having that, and affirmations and all that is very vital and important. Right. And I think that it's so awesome that you highlighted that. And you had mentioned, you listen to a lot of success stuff, and I read that type of stuff too. So is there anything that you feel like has really helped you in the journey thus far, like any specific books or podcasters that you think was really influential in your journey like thus far, or maybe changed your mindset or perspective to help you propel your business and life forward? Yes.
And I mention him every podcast, but Grant Cardone.
Oh,
Grant Cardone, right? He and I'm never gonna get tired of telling this story because it was huge and transformative for my life. But he has a book called The 10X Rule, and I powered through that book in like 2 days. And in the book, he talks about fear and how oftentimes we're like sitting on the phone, about to make a phone call to someone that we know could potentially change our lives, but we're paralyzed by fear. We're paralyzed by these unrealistic thoughts of things that are never going to happen. And so we hang up the phone like, no, never mind. Well, he's going to say no anyway, right? Or that's dumb. And then you kind of like you start getting down on yourself. Right. And so I think after I read the book, I was like, I need to get in contact with this guy. And so I contacted him. I talked to him for like 15, 20 minutes, and it was transformative for me because he basically broke down my business and like what it is that I'm doing, the demographic that I'm targeting, our margins, our prices, like everything. Like he really broke all of that down, and it allowed for me to see it from like a different perspective. Like, this guy is a billionaire, so he's somewhere where I aspire to be. So I need to sit down and take notes, right? And so I think that the 10X Rule is one of those books that, like, if you don't want to read the 10X Rule, like, I would say go to one of his seminars or watch his stuff on YouTube, follow him on Instagram. I mean, he really is a force to be reckoned with because he has this like chip on his shoulder. And, and he's been at the top and he's been at the bottom. Like, he's been on drugs, he's been off drugs, he's lost close family members. I mean, he's experienced great loss. So when you're talking to him, you really feel like you're talking to a friend. And so, like, you can feel that empathy and that connection. So you feel like, this guy is really going to try to help me. He's on Undercover Billionaire. So if any of you guys are listening, definitely watch him on Undercover Billionaire. He's amazing. Okay. So I would suggest the 10X Rule. That's a great one. The Power of Habit. It's a yellow book. It's got red. That's always a good book. Always a good book. It just kind of, talks about, like, what are you doing with your daily, right? Like, Change your habits, change your life. It takes 21 days to create a habit and 90 days to create a lifestyle. So, you know, I'm like a self-help queen. So I'm literally, you know, I'm literally going to sound like a broken record or sound like a bunch of like Instagram memes.
Motivational speakers. I know, me too. I'm the same way.
So that is my life. But I would definitely suggest that if you find yourself like in a funk or you're trying to get motivated, like start with some books. Just start listening to them. Even if you don't care and you have them in your head, in your ears, or you have your headphones on and you're doing other things, they say that it's still seeping into your subconscious, so you're still retaining it. You could go to sleep with the audiobooks. Yes, you can go to sleep with the audiobooks and it's still going to change your life. For sure. So that would be my biggest suggestion.
It was funny because when I was littler, I would tell my mom, like, I wish I could just put a book under my head and like it would just go in my brain. And then like the audiobooks came out and I was like,
wow. I really wish I had capitalized on that.
Me too. I told my mom when I was like 9, I was like, Mom, it would be just great. I wouldn't have to study. I'd just be like,
just insert it. Thank you. Yes.
But that is so cool. And I think Grant Cardone is awesome. And The Power of Habit is such a great book.
Definitely.
And there's so many others too. There's one right now, like I think it's like Millionaire Mindset or something that I'm reading.
Okay.
So there's just so many good things out there. And
not only just power, you just got to invest in yourself.
Absolutely.
You know, I think if I could go back and like, if I had $1,000 to like start a business, I don't think that I would immediately go into like filing and getting an EIN and doing all this stuff. I think I would go to a seminar. I really think I would spend $1,000. Invest in myself. Because I think it would have helped me not run into so many, dead ends in the beginning. Had I been a little bit more prepared. So that would probably be my advice for like anybody that's starting a business. Like, start on yourself and then start the business. And don't be scared about using your last $1,000 to do it. Because you're going to be even more upset when you spend $1,000 to start this business and then you got to go spend $3,000 or $4,000 more to fix all the mistakes that you made because you weren't prepared. So get a mentor for sure.
Absolutely. And I think that was something that really helped me propel into starting this. I used to do Amway.
Okay.
And I was pretty big in Amway. I worked my way up to a platinum, so I mentored a lot of people. But the one beautiful thing that I loved about Amway was the mentorship. They had big conferences and had public speakers and had like these phenomenal people come in. Like we had the Navy SEALs, Jocko and Leaf come in, and just incredible people. And I think that just really impacted me because I was so full with just mindset, right? And so when I left that to pursue my own thing, because I was like, I can impact more people through this platform. Not that Amway's not great, it is, but like I was just like, I can do more here. I was like, you know what? I'm so blessed that I did that because now I have that foundation. And it's
you can
so
build
true.
Off of that.
And it was so valuable. I did it for years. So years of conferences, years of great information, years of self-help books. I don't even know how many books I read, like probably 1,000, so much.
I believe
and it's definitely, my mindset is so strong and, just because of that foundation. And
I think
that's vital.
Yes.
Because you're going to go through battles. You're going to go through mental health battles having a business. You're going to break down, and, so it is especially hard when you're doing it by yourself,
that part. So
absolutely. What has helped you, speaking of being a solopreneur pretty much, you do have your right-hand woman, but running that, and then also you said minority women business. So what has helped you through that and just kept you going? I know you said having the tough mindset, but like, are there specific people you've leaned on or...
I will say I've had some people along the way that I'm very, very grateful for, just because every single time that I found myself like hitting a wall, like there's always someone at the wall that's like, girl, let me help you over the wall. And then they like help me over, and then like I'll hit another wall, because that's life. There's always going to be, it's an emotional roller coaster, right? And so I hit another wall, and then there's someone else there. And so there's been a lot of key people, like way too many to think, but that have just been an inspiration and like mentors and examples for me. My aunt is one of them. I have an aunt in Mexico that she is in Mexico. She was the news anchor
Oh,
so she would take me
cool.
with her when I was very, very young. So she was the news anchor. And then after she would be done doing the news, like 5 o'clock news, she would leave, and then she was a physical therapist. And so she was like working on these like injured people all day long. So I would watch her do that. And then she would leave there. And then she would go to the radio station, and then she was like, "Hey, 105.7, The Quiet Storm." And so I literally watched her wear so many hats, right? And so growing up, watching her, I was like, this girl is so dope. I want to grow up to be just like her. She's the best example, right? And then she got married like in her 30s, and then had a boy and a girl, and then she's been married for like 30 years. She's like, she literally is like the fairy tale of everything that I want in my life. And so she's been awesome, super inspirational, and like a driving force in my life. She always speaks life over me.
That's amazing.
My dad is awesome too. He came to the United States with $40. And and then created this like
I'm sorry, what?
$40 as an
gosh.
immigrant, and then now he has a very, very successful multi-million-dollar construction company that's doing very, very well.
Definitely need to talk to him here on
Yes,
WE.
you do. Yes, you do. He's been in business for 30 years, and like I said, he's also
love to learn from him.
President of Toastmasters and stuff like that. So he's awesome. So he's also a great example for me. And then I've also had friends, man, that just like friends that like when I first started that I would literally call and be like, "Hey, we have to send a bunch of emails to the NBA, and my hands hurt," and they would show up and be like,
they're falling off right now.
Yes, they literally would send emails for me as me.
I love that.
And so like just having a tribe of people that come together for you to say, "You know what, girl, we'll cold call for you. Don't pay us. We'll send emails. Don't pay us."
Gotcha back.
Like we're your camera crew. We're everything for you. And so like that tribe has helped me, like I can't even tell you. Like they'll hold my baby when I'm like in the middle of a meeting, or if I'm in the middle of a workout, they're there with my child. And so like my son is getting to watch me do all of these things, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm also thankful for the tribe that I have, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I think that's so true. And I can relate on that perspective too, just starting my business. You don't always have a lot of money initially, and my friends have got my back too. And my videographer is my friend and doesn't charge me. And one of my best friends helps me make clothes, and she's just helping me with makeup and just,
You're like, "I got you later, girl."
Yeah, whenever she can, she's like, "I got you." She's helping me with my website, And so, your friends just come together, and I had a friend help me with graphics for a while. And,
that's what it's about.
Yeah,
just get her margarita later. Pay her margaritas.
That's what I did. I buy them a lunch, buy them wine, You just, little things to help them out. And then, just people here and there that have been on my podcast, like, let me lift you a hand here, help you here. And I actually made that part of my Wisdom Wednesday yesterday is, whatever you want to receive, you have to give away. Period. And it normally comes back to you. So, and it's cool because, I'm giving away a lot, and I'm getting a lot in return. And that's why we have two hands, one to receive and one to give. And so
tenfold. I agree.
Yeah, I think that's so valuable. And I think it's cool too what you said there is just your son watching you grow up as an ambitious woman and just seeing that you're not just relying on your husband, you're doing your own thing, you're paving your own way, and you can do it all. And I think that's just so empowering to other women entrepreneurs, especially that have children that are listening. And I think that's so cool that your dad came here and just kind of paved the way for you, and you have that example too. I think that's phenomenal. And you got a chance to talk at Toastmasters, and how'd you do, by the way?
Oh my gosh, I never went back. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that my dad is amazing. I love Toastmasters. I think that they're great at empowering people and teaching them how to speak. Sure. But in Toastmasters, they have this little clicker where every single time you talk and you say
do they really?
They're like click, click, click.
Oh
click.
gosh.
And so when you're done, they give you this little sheet like, "Hey Liz, you said 17 times."
Fantastic.
And you're just like, oh. And I just remember like walking up to the podium, and I'm looking around at these people, and then they're like, "Okay, Dennice, read your question." And I'm like, "What question?" You open this thing and you're like, "Okay, if you could invite Jesus Christ to dinner, what would you cook and what would be the attire?" And I'm like,
holy cats.
I know. I literally started my thing like, they could wear leaves and berries. Like, what? My dad was like, "Get off the stage."
Yeah. You're like, we would have fish because, like
he parted the sea and then he multiplies everything, and we could have wine because grapes. I don't know.
I know.
Like, it was
water
just,
into wine.
Yeah, I just don't know. And so that was like they give you these
I'm
crazy questions. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, I was stressed. I was stressed.
I don't know where to begin. But you overcame it too.
I did. I overcame it and never went back.
Yeah, that's what being an entrepreneur is. It's just about going in there and making it happen.
Yes.
So whatever it takes. But
definitely.
That's so cool. I love your mentality. So you mentioned, okay, we're working on an app.
Oh yeah.
Right. So tell us what that is involving, what that looks like, when that's happening.
Yeah. So basically, what we've been doing thus far to get all of this stuff done is, if a guy's relocating or a staff member's relocating, we do everything kind of manually. So they're talking to us on the phone. We're talking to the vendors. We oversee everything, and it's like step by step by step by step, and we're giving everyone peace of mind. So none of our clients know what's going on behind the scenes, right? But we know what's going on behind the scenes. Our sleep schedules know what's going on behind the scenes. Starbucks knows us by name, right? And so you know what I'm saying? They're like, we already have your stuff here. Just keep going. And so we created this app where we're going to be able to streamline everything. So let's say that you want to ship your car tomorrow to Canada or wherever. It doesn't matter. You're going to take out your phone. You're going to scan the VIN number on your vehicle. All of the information for your vehicle is going to pop up. It's going to say 2020, whatever. And then you're just going to put your pickup and drop off address, submit. When you press submit, all of our vendors will then look at it. They'll bid on it. And then you're going to get it just like Travelocity. So if you want to book a flight tomorrow, you get what? You get American, United, Southwest, Virgin Airlines. So you get all of these airlines. The similar, concept is going to happen for our app that's dropping, I want to say in a few days. So you're going to get different quotes for your car shipments, and then you're going to get to pick whichever one like suits you best. So let's say that you're in a hurry and you're like, I have to get my car to California tomorrow. It might be $1,000. These are just numbers, and you might click it and say, okay, let's go. And then someone's going to come and pick up your car and drop it off in California. It's very, very simple. Or if you have a few days to wait, you can pick the third option. It might be like $600. I don't know. And so, all of the pricing is contingent on, the availability of drivers, gas, mileage, and, like just if it's going to be open or if it's going to be enclosed. There's so many different factors. But the good thing about the app is that it's going to be able to walk you through everything. So if you're like, well, what's the difference between open and enclosed? Well, you click it and it's going to tell you what an open one would be and what a closed one would be, and then it's going to give you different estimates. So the same thing for moving, or even if you wanted to buy a place, you can still do the same thing through the app, and you're going to be in constant communication with someone. You can text, FaceTime, send contracts, everything through the app. It's something that I've been working on for 4 years. That's another hiccup that I've had, a huge hiccup, is that I went through two app developers and they failed me. Like they just couldn't make my vision come into fruition. And so you know how that is.
I understand.
You're just like, how are you not getting it? I mean, I doodled it right here. Why don't you see it?
I bought this graphic design tablet just to show you.
Just to show you, and you're still not putting the button where I need the button to be, right? And so, so we're really excited, man, just because it's really going to change the game. I mean, we have teams that are calling like, is the app done? We're ready. It's going to alleviate the headache for a lot of people that work for like basketball operations, football operations managers within the NBA and NFL, because they kind of see all that stuff. If there's trades in the NBA, the basketball operations manager, I'm sure, has like 16 phones going on at the same time, like just like an octopus or something, and they're just like losing their minds. And so that's kind of where we come in to just help them, and the app is going to be a game changer because it's the only one of its kind. I'm going to tell you, there's only 3 other people that are in this field. So I'm the only woman-owned and operated sports relocation company that works in the league. And then also I will be the only one out of all 4 that has an app.
Wow. So how does that feel to be the only one?
It feels great. It feels great. It feels like I wake up in the morning and I have like champagne glasses and I'm dinging them. Like, I'm so original. I'm so awesome. And I don't mean that in a pretentious, cocky way. I mean that in like I feel empowered. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited to pave the way. Sure. And I don't care if somebody comes and copies afterwards. Oh, like, I'm just, that like the best flattery is like imitation. Like, you're trying to be like me. That's awesome. Hey. Like, that means I'm doing something right, And so I'm just thankful. I'm grateful. I'm excited because we're fruitful, because we're doing the work.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, so reflecting on your journey thus far as an entrepreneur, if you were to go back and do it again, what what, if anything, would you change, and what advice would you give to somebody starting out? You said definitely investing in themselves first.
Yeah.
But is there anything that really helped you, in the facilitation of those early relationships that have built the foundation of your business? Like you said, you have that network, right, of brokers, real estate agents, all these different people, things that helped with that foundation creation.
I'm trying to think about what I would do differently. I think that I would stop being so scared in the beginning. I mean, I have a friend named Mark that will tell you that I wasted 1 year of my life. I wasted one entire year of my life being scared. And then I covered up my fear by saying, well, I'm working on my business plan. Well, I'm working on the app. Well, I'm actually trying to build my connection of brokers and realtors and vendors. And I'm just setting everything up. And because I am a very meticulous OCD type A personality, like I was basically justifying my lack of action by saying, well, I'm doing all these things behind the scenes. Yeah. And so I think if I could go back, I would not be so fearful. Like what you were talking about, like these people don't really care, right. So I'm scared to fail for who? Let me fail. If I fail, at least I learned something from my failures, right? There's a lesson there, and then I can get better, and then I can do better next time. Like in my mind, and my sister and I were talking about this the other day, how I kind of have this issue, and I'm working on it actively, but I have this issue where I think that everything's very final. Very final. Like I don't want to post on Instagram because it's final. I don't want to buy that house because, well, I don't like that school district, and then my son, and this, that, and the third. And it's like, she's like, you don't have to live there forever. Who said you have to live in that house forever? Right. Why do you have to have that car forever? I can have that car for 3 weeks and then go get another car. Right. And I don't have to have this job. If I wanted to start something tomorrow and then leave Hyphen, I'm entitled to do that. It's my life. It's my journey, right? So everyone else's judgment matters not to me, right? And so whenever you kind of like strip yourself of that, I think that you can finally live your life out loud and freely. Like if I could go back, I wouldn't be scared. I wouldn't be scared. I was so scared to fail. I was scared that everybody that was looking at me, whoever they are, who are they?
We don't even know their names.
We don't know their names. I don't even have a following. Who am I, Kim Kardashian? No one cares, Dennice. Just do it.
Right? I don't either. I have maybe less than 2,000 followers on Instagram.
Same. I literally didn't post for 4 years because of that, just this analysis paralysis where I'm just like, I'm analyzing all these things and now I'm paralyzed by it and then I don't want to do anything. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. Just do it. Yeah. Like Nike. Just do it.
I love that. And it's so true. Like, you just have to go out there and get after it. Yeah. And, I think fear is the enemy of progression. And, a lot of people are afraid of making mistakes because honestly, that's what we were taught. You know, in school, don't make a mistake. Oh, you missed this one.
Wow.
Oh,
that's powerful.
So we're programmed, you know? And so I think that actually paralyzes a lot of entrepreneurs is because they feel like, oh man, if I fail, then I'm not going to succeed. And that's actually the opposite of the truth. Yeah. The faster you fail, the faster you succeed. Agreed. And failure is actually a good thing because then you tweak and you make little adjustments until you are winning.
Yeah. There's no way to do it perfectly. You're right.
No. Yeah. And practice does make perfect, but you have to tweak the practice to make it perfect.
I know that's a word for today.
Yeah. And it's so true. And I think it's so great that you highlighted that because that keeps a lot of people, they have all these ideas in their mind, right? But it never gets executed because they're like, what if I don't win? Or what if this person over here watches me and judges me? And it's like, what if they don't?
Right. Entertain the idea of what if it works?
And
what if they
you
don't?
Succeed? And it's so funny because one of my best friends, I was talking to her on my way here about some other stuff that, in my personal life. And she's like, what you had just said, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You just need to live the present moment. This is what is happening right now. It doesn't mean it's going to be this way forever. And I'm like, you're so wise. I love you. Yeah.
You just need an outside person.
Yes. She's just like, no, you're thinking too much in your own brain. And it's good to have those people that just keep you grounded and in the right frame of mind that, hey, this is temporary. It's okay.
Everything's
You
temporary.
can change your mind. Things happen. Things are going to get better. This is going to be,
Agreed.
Not a permanent thing. It's not the end of the world.
It's not.
If we do this today, it doesn't mean that's going to be gone tomorrow, so
Agreed.
it's just so true.
Agreed.
And I think it's so helpful. Well, I really appreciate you being a guest today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. How can everybody connect with you and follow your journey?
Right. Okay. So,
or get your services too.
Right. If you need our services, definitely call or text us at 469-491-9877. You can follow us on Instagram. We are We Hypen, WeHypen. And then if you want to be nosy and follow me on Instagram, all I do is work out, be a mom, and then work with football players and basketball players. But my Instagram is Dennice, DENNICE_Johnson. And then, our website is wehypen.com. Everything else, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and everything is We Hypen. So we connect. We Hypen.
Yes.
We're here for you.
I love it. I love the name. I think it's so crazy. And I think it's crazy. We didn't even mention how we knew each other, but we used to teach together.
Yeah, one of my 150 jobs.
School.
Yes. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, and we're both entrepreneurs now, female entrepreneurs. So
insane. I was a teacher, guys. That too.
You're right. I know, that's incredible. And I think, your business is going to make a huge impact. It already is. Mm-hmm. And I'm super excited to follow along with your app and the mental health stuff. I think is going to be a huge, because honestly, you're right. It's not in that field enough. And I think that you're going to be, a pivotal change in that arena. And I'm excited to, see how that happens.
I received that. And I send it your way as well. Thank you so much.
Yes. Women empowering women on Double
absolutely.
E. I love it. Well, thank you so much again. And you guys stay tuned for the next episode of Double E Elevating Entrepreneurs.